Columbia University students yelling at Jewish students, and I quote, "Never forget October 7th. It will not happen, it will happen, not one more time, not 5 more times, not 10, not 100, not 1,000, but 10,000 times. The 7th of October is going to be every day for you." The 7th of October, this is to Jewish students, is going to be every day for you.
Hello, Patriots. Welcome back to Signal 76. Today, we're diving headfirst into a truly disturbing development that's unfolding right on our college campuses, and it demands our immediate attention as red-blooded Americans. We're going to be dissecting the recent testimony from Senator Hawley's questioning of Dream.us, an organization that, by its own admission, provides college scholarships to undocumented students. Now, before we get into the meat of this, I need you to do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, leave a comment with your thoughts. And most importantly, stick around until the very end, because the insights we're going to uncover are absolutely critical to defending the traditional principles that built this great nation. We cannot afford to be complacent, not when our very values are under assault from within.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Hawley.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to all of the witnesses for being here. Ms. Pacheco, if I could just start with you. Your organization, the Dream.us, you provide support for undocumented young people for college and career success. Is that broadly right? Am I getting it right?
That's correct.
And among the things you do is you provide scholarships to these undocumented students. Have I got that correct?
That's right.
And so college scholarships, just to be clear.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. Can you tell me, maybe you know the answer to this, maybe you don't, any of the students, do you know if any of the students to whom your organization has provided a college scholarship are currently part of the encampments on any of these college campuses, like the picture you see behind me? I'm sure we've all seen these videos.
No, Senator.
Nobody to whom you provide scholarships are part of the encampments?
I do not know.
You don't know. What about, do you know if any of the students to whom you provided scholarships have physically threatened Jewish students on campus?
I do not know.
Here's why I'm asking. NBC News just reported, and I'm just going to quote now from the article, quote, this is Columbia University, a Columbia undergraduate who provided only her initials because she is an undocumented immigrant and fears deportation, said last week she spent hours a day in the encampment. This would be the illegal encampment that's in violation of the law as well as campus policy. Spent hours a day in the encampment, I'm quoting still now, before university officials threatened to suspend those students. The article goes on, she joined, this student, joined a supplies platoon. That's a subgroup formed by pro-Palestinian campus organizers, end quote. Let me just review some of the things that these students, these in the encampments that is, are saying. And of course, we often don't know who these students are. They're concealing their identities. This is, I'm going to read to you now, and I just warn folks, this is not pleasant stuff, but these are the facts, and we have to tell the truth. This is just from last night at George Washington University. That's here in this town. They projected, the students in the encampment there projected onto various buildings images of the United States flag being burned with the graphics, "Gaza lights the spark that will set the empire ablaze." They projected the following: long live the student intifada. Down with the settler state. That would be the state of Israel, I suppose. Glory to the martyrs of Palestine. It's a jihadist slogan. Stained with the blood of 44,000 Palestinians. That's last night at GW. Also at GW, they're now calling for beheading, the student encampment, beheading of individuals who support the state of Israel, including holding a people's tribunal where they're putting on trial, quote unquote, various members of their own board of trustees and calling for a guillotine. Here's Columbia University students on April the 20th, 2024. This is all public record. I'm reading this now. This is on, I guess it's X. Columbia University students yelling at Jewish students, and I quote, "Never forget October 7th. It will not happen, it will happen, not one more time, not 5 more times, not 10, not 100, not 1,000, but 10,000 times. The 7th of October is going to be every day for you." The 7th of October, this is to Jewish students, is going to be every day for you, end quote. I guess my question is, Ms. Pacheco, and for anybody else on the panel too, shouldn't we be deporting these students? If we have undocumented students who are here unlawfully in the country, who are violating the law, let's just be clear here now, this is a violation of the law, and if they're also deliberately inciting persecution of a person on account of their race, which surely calling for the murder of Jews does that, shouldn't we be deporting them? Does anybody think we shouldn't be? Shouldn't we be deporting these students who are here unlawfully? Ms. Pacheco?
Senator, we expect a lot from our scholars, and the scholars and the students that I know love this country, respect this country, and want to and enrich not only the campuses, but also this country.
That's fantastic. And I hope and bet that none of the people that you sponsor are part of this. And I certainly hope that's the case. But I just wondered, is there anybody on the panel who thinks that we should not deport students who are here unlawfully, who are engaging in this activity, who are calling for the death of Jewish students, who are violating the laws of the United States? I mean, shouldn't we be deporting these people? Does anybody want to defend it and say, no, we shouldn't? They should absolutely be here. I think it's indefensible. The record reflects there's total silence from the panel. You know, I also think we ought to cancel the student visas, and I've called for this. For those who are here from other countries with a visa, I think if they're part of this, we ought to be canceling their visas. Now, we ought to send a clear message. Actually, Ms. Pacheco, I think it was you in your opening statement put it really beautifully about how part of what we're talking here today represents the character of the country. I think that's very appropriate. And we need to send a message about this activity, not just about the trespassing and the destruction of buildings. That's bad, that's unlawful. But the threats of violence, and in some cases the outright acts of violence against Jewish students, we should send a moral message that if you do that and you are here unlawfully, you should be deported. If you are here on a student visa, you ought to have your visa canceled. This is the United States of America, and we are not going to stand for it. And I would just hope we could speak with one moral voice on this issue. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Whitehouse.
Thank you, Chairman.
What we're seeing on these campuses isn't just youthful exuberance or misguided idealism. It's a radical, often violent movement that is being fueled and, in some cases, directly participated in by individuals who are not even legal citizens of this country. Senator Hawley, bless his patriotic heart, brought this issue to the forefront with laser-like precision. He asked a simple, yet profoundly important question to Mr. Pico from Dream.us. Are any of your scholarship recipients involved in these pro-Palestinian campus encampments? And what was Mr. Pico's response? A resounding, I don't know. Now, let's just pause for a moment and consider that. An organization that provides scholarships to undocumented students who are here by the grace of our nation's somewhat lax immigration policies, claims to have no idea if their beneficiaries are actively engaged in disruptive, often hateful, protests on college campuses. Is that negligence? Is it willful ignorance? Or is it something far more insidious, a deliberate turning of a blind eye to radicalism within their own ranks? I leave that for you, the discerning patriots watching, to decide. Senator Hawley didn't stop there, and rightly so. He brought up an NBC News report, not some obscure blog, but NBC News, detailing an undocumented student at Columbia University who was front and center in these campus encampments. Columbia University, a prestigious institution, now a hotbed of anti-American and anti-Semitic sentiment. It's not just Columbia. Senator Hawley then laid out a chilling account of what's been happening at George Washington University. We're talking about building projections with anti-Israel messages, slogans like "Down with the settler state." Let me be clear. "Down with the settler state" is not a nuanced political statement. It is a direct call for the eradication of Israel, a sovereign nation and a key ally of the United States. This isn't a debate about foreign policy. It's a direct attack on a nation's right to exist. But it gets worse. At George Washington University, Senator Hawley detailed incidents involving calls for beheading supporters of Israel. Beheading. Let that sink in. This isn't a peaceful protest. This is incitement to violence, a barbaric threat that belongs in the darkest corners of history, not on American college campuses in the 21st century. And then, the mock tribunals targeting board members. This is straight out of the authoritarian playbook, a chilling echo of totalitarian regimes where dissent is crushed and those who dare to speak up are publicly humiliated and threatened. These are not acts of civil disobedience. These are acts of intimidation and terror. And what about the alleged quotes from Columbia University students telling Jewish students that October 7th is going to be every day for you? October 7th was a horrific massacre, a day of unspeakable brutality and murder. To threaten Jewish students with a repeat of such an atrocity is not only abhorrent, but constitutes a clear and present danger. This isn't just free speech. This is hate speech, and it is a direct threat of violence against a specific group of students. Where is the outrage from college administrations? Where are the consequences for these students who are actively creating a hostile and dangerous environment for their peers? Senator Hawley, with the courage that many in Washington sadly lack, articulated a fundamental truth. Undocumented students participating in these activities should be deported. Period. They are here on our soil, benefiting from our generosity, and they are actively violating our laws and undermining the very fabric of our society. This isn't just about trespassing or property damage, though those are serious offenses. This is about individuals who are guests in our country engaging in activities that are fundamentally anti-American, threatening the safety of our citizens, and promoting radical ideologies. Their continued presence here is a slap in the face to every legal immigrant who followed the rules and every American citizen who believes in the rule of law. And it's not just undocumented students. Senator Hawley also rightly called for the cancellation of student visas for international students involved in such protests. If you come to our country to study, you are expected to abide by our laws and respect our values. If you choose instead to engage in activities that are disruptive, violent, and hateful, then you have forfeited the privilege of being here. Your visa should be revoked, and you should be sent home. It's that simple. We are not a doormat for foreign agitators. Senator Hawley characterized these activities not just as simple protests, but as clear threats of violence against Jewish students. And he is absolutely correct. When you call for beheadings, when you tell someone that a massacre will be every day for you, that is a threat of violence. That is not peaceful assembly. That is a dangerous escalation that should be met with swift and decisive action. And then, the most telling moment of all, Senator Hawley asked the panel if they opposed deporting undocumented students engaged in these activities. Silence. Crickets. Not a single panel member, supposedly representing organizations that are meant to uphold educational values, could bring themselves to unequivocally state that they oppose the deportation of individuals who are inciting hatred and threatening violence. Senator Whitehouse, to his credit, began to respond, but the excerpt ends there. Their silence speaks volumes. It reveals a deep-seated unwillingness to confront the radicalism festering on our campuses, a fear of offending the very elements that are tearing our society apart. This is a moment of truth for our nation, and we, the patriots of Signal 76, will not be silent. We will continue to shine a light on these dark corners and demand accountability. We must stand strong, defend our values, and ensure that our nation remains a beacon of freedom and justice, not a breeding ground for radicalism.